Eagles. Eagles.
And welcome in, everybody, to a Monday morning edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, Johnny Mac, John McMullen. We are 8 days away, everybody, from the Eagles reporting to training camp, 9 days away from them hitting the practice field. And today we're ready to kick off Birds 365, the last full week of the offseason. Johnny Mac, how you doing on this Monday morning, my friend?
Yeah, just over a week away, and the Eagles will officially report, Wednesday of next week. So a week from Wednesday, the first practice. Still don't have the schedule, but technically, I don't have the schedule. Officially, I don't have the schedule, but that'll be coming presumably this week. But yeah, we're close. We are close.
Yes, we are inching closer here to the season. We had obviously not much is breaking at this point of the year. You know, we'll get ready to get on the practice field. I know there's some articles going around about Nick Sirianni. John, we'll get into those a little bit. I know you had one up this morning as well. Real quick, though, for those Eagle fans out there who maybe didn't see, there was one piece of news this weekend, and that was that the star running back, Saquon Barkley's home was burglarized. Johnny Mac, 5 a.m. on Saturday morning. Saquon and his family are safe, but his home in Tredyffrin Township. I have some funny stories to talk about that township. I will keep off the air. Johnny Mac, what do you make of Saquon Barkley home getting burglarized? I thought that was something we had to notify the people about.
Yeah, well, the scary part is they were home. At least some of them were home. So, luckily everybody's okay. But that just, I'm like, people, there are a lot of people that just disgusting. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
Malvern, that area is generally obviously not the typical thing you would think about, but it's just a sad situation, and from the perspective of, obviously, if you boil it down to just the family of Saquon Barkley, obviously it's got to be very frightening for them, but also just in general as a society. I mean, the fact that home invasions have become a bigger thing. And obviously, NFL players know, and sports players know, entertainment people, they know they're a target. There's that big ring going around that, looks legitimately does, when are they going to be on the road so we can go in and rob the house? And that's been going on. The FBI has been investigating that for months and months. So it's sad, but that's unfortunately where we are. And glad everybody's okay. That's all you can say. I mean, it's terrible. It's terrible, but they know their targets. And, I remember when the Eagles got their Super Bowl ring, and I'm like, everybody's asking, everybody's always interested. Where's it going to be? Where are they going to do it? And like, they hold that under lock and key till the last minute.
Right.
And I'm like, I contacted some people, and I'm like, look, I just, because I would, I don't have to go. It's more of a TV thing. So I don't have to go cover it. But I was like, everybody's so interested. And then Ike Richmond, who helped do it, longtime PR guy, said, look, I mean, they're targets basically. We got, and you see those rings.
Yeah,
you can imagine.
Yeah, there's 60, 70, 80, maybe 100 rings. They're worth, I don't know, 50 grand a pop.
Yeah.
You do the math.
So anyway, that's why they do that. And I said, yeah, say no more. As soon as he said it, I said, it clicked with me. I'm like, yeah, I'm all right. No problem. Cause he's right. He's 100% right. So, that's unfortunate that we've gotten to that point, but we have gotten to that point, and those guys have to be very careful, and, personal security and things like that. But it's sad is all I can say.
Yeah, no doubt about it. People, a lot of crappy people out there. Exercise your rights to protect your home and your family. Obviously, it's tough to do for these guys when they're not home all the time. But we'll see what what the conclusion of that looks like. I don't know if we'll ever hear anything else on it. I know they're investigating it. I don't know if they figured out who did it or if they caught the person that did it. But we digress on that for the day. Johnny Mac with a week out from training camp. A little Nick Sirianni embargo was lifted today, where we can now speak about some of the things that you talked with Nick about. You wrote an article today speaking about the expectations of the team and how, in a way, it fuels Nick Sirianni. Tell me a little bit about that and some of the other things that you got a chance to talk to Nick about as we head into this season.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting because Nick was asked, we do this basically every year, and it's sort of a 10,000-foot view of the upcoming season in advance of training camp, and more big picture issues than anything else. Not the, like, is so-and-so going to practice, the mundane day-to-day stuff, more big picture stuff. And it always is valuable. And you always find a couple nuggets. I'm always interested to see, it's a small group, so to see where everybody goes with what, was at the forefront. And you'll see a bunch of stuff by me and others coming up in the next few days from it. But, the most interesting thing to me, because I do think it's so interesting from so many angles, is, the perception of Nick Sirianni around the league, which does not generally, as you see these lists, and we call it list season for a reason, and you see the coaching rankings, he's never near the top. Never. With all the success. And so he was asked, in a roundabout way, how he feels about those expectations sort of fueling the goal. So, if the Eagles are successful, they're supposed to be successful. And if they win 11 games and lose in the first round of the playoffs, it's a mini disaster. I mean, think about how many teams would love that season. Organizations in the NFL would love that kind of season. And here we are entering year 6, and the numbers: 5 consecutive playoff berths, 2 NFC championships, Super Bowl championship. And we are where we are, where we ask the questions: is Nick Sirianni on the hot seat? Is Jalen Hurts going to be the quarterback in 2027? All these questions, and they're valid questions because of the standard and what's expected. But from Nick's case, it's interesting because when they are successful, it's due to Howie's roster. And when they aren't successful, is because he's getting in the way.
I have a problem with that too.
Which, if you think about that from the standpoint, you have so many people. Well, what does he do? The what does he do people who will then turn around and say, well, he's getting in the way. Well, if he doesn't do anything, how do you get in the way? So there's a certain amount of hypocrisy that, you could imagine that would frustrate, and I'm sure it does. I'm sure it frustrates Nick. In fact, I know it frustrates him at times, even though he's going to, try to downplay it, try to no sell it, to use a wrestling term, in public. And he does a pretty good job of it. But those, as I call those goalposts of the perception, never stay static. I mean, they're just, if they win the Super Bowl, well, look at that roster. Look at that roster. If they perform like last season, well, Kevin Patullo's an idiot. Nick's an idiot. I mean, but that's not to say, hey, feel sorry for the guy. He's got a great job. He's got a great life. He makes a lot of money. He's well regarded in the building, which is all that matters. But it is an interesting dichotomy to me. So I he was asked some of the questions. And as I said, Think about Sean McVay. I mean, Sean McVay's the guy, right? You know, he's never lost to Sean McVay. Now, he should have, but he didn't. But nobody will put those two in the same conversation. So basically, you know, he said, I can't control what anyone thinks or feels. That's okay. I think sometimes if I get wrapped up in the wrong things, hey, the appreciation, it should be higher. That doesn't really matter. And it doesn't. But, you know, I think it's important that when you have, and I talk about the public facing nature of the industry, I mean, perceptions can seep into a building very, very quickly around the NFL. Um, and he's done a good job for the most part of keeping things on track. Now, everybody can bring up AJ Brown, everybody can bring up Jeff Stoutland in the off season. There's always going to be issues. You're never going to go through an NFL season without issues, without adversity. But I do think it's interesting how he's handled it how he continues to handle it. And he's gotten better at it, you know. And he almost during the interview was and caught himself and he said, you know, would you like to get to a point where you say, yeah, you should be appreciated more? And then he caught himself and he's like, who gives a fuck? Is basically what he said. That's out of my control.
Right.
And I think that's the right way to handle it. I think that's the way he generally handles it. But it is a tough. I think people, when you're a bad team and you're losing a lot, it's almost like everybody knows the adversity and everybody can see the adversity. When you win, they don't see the adversity. And there's a thought that it's a lot easier to, you know, move forward with failure than it is with success in a at least in a worthwhile way, because, you know, as people will say, the Eagles won the Super Bowl one, and then they came back and they didn't change much, and all of a sudden people catch up. Whereas if you lose, well, you know, you gotta have urgency. So it's a very difficult path to traverse, and he's done a great job at it for the most part. This is going to be probably his biggest test yet. And he's been very involved in trying to find the solutions to that test. And that's some of the stuff you'll be seeing in the upcoming days about the actual shifting of the scheme. And I think you're going to see a lot more people honed in on the running game, which I've been trying to say. It's not about the pass. All we do is talk about, it's about the running game. It's about fixing the running game. And I think you're going to see more people figure that out in the upcoming days.
Well, I think what you explained there with the way Nick Sirianni's handling it is certainly correct, to almost embrace, I don't want to call it a villain role, so to speak, but, you know, something along those lines when it comes to the outside perception, John. But did you get any feeling of what's under the surface with Nick when it comes to inside the building? You know, and when I say inside the building, I mean Jeffrey Lurie. Because as much as I think the outside expectations are a lot and are tough to live up to, and that's completely understandable, I think many of those same expectations live inside the organization. And you've even heard, like you mentioned, hot seat talk. And that doesn't come from, you know, outside. We might think it comes from outside, but there's one person who's in charge of that, and that's Jeffrey Lurie. And if he decides that Nick Sirianni's on the hot seat, he's on the hot seat. Were you able to maybe see a little bit beneath the surface on Nick and see if he's feeling maybe some of that pressure that's coming from within the organization as opposed to outside the organization?
Yeah, I don't think he's on the hot seat at all right now. But when I say that, that can change very quickly.
Right.
You know, if you have with those based, like they're supposed to win at a significant level again. And if that turns into a sub 500 season, well, you're on the hot seat. I mean, I joke about it all the time. If you talk about the 2023 season, basically he got on the hot seat in 3 hours. Like I tell the story all the time. On the flight down to Tampa, I'm having some conversation. I'm basically laughing at people. Like he might get fired. And then on the flight back, I'm like, he might get fired because of how poorly they played in that game and how ugly it was. And I tell the story all the time. Tampa's an older stadium. The executives who sit in the press box are generally away from us. They have booths in most of the newer stadiums that are more comfortable for them. But in Tampa, they're right behind us. So we're in the front row and they're in the back row. And, when things got out of hand, a high level executive right behind me said, "This is fucking embarrassing." And you start to see how quickly it can change. And again, that comes with the perception that we should be winning. We should do this. We should do that. And which Nick admitted at the end, and that's how I closed it. He said, "F yeah, the expectations are high." But he's embraced it and said, because of that, your standards are higher.
Yeah, and that's also a testament to him in a way. I mean, if you built a shit organization, you don't have high expectations.
Oh, exactly.
So exactly. In a way, it's a testament to him. But he does have to. I think he does have to have a good season this year. His team at least has to have a good season this year because, like you just explained, it can change pretty quick, John. If it gets ugly this year, they're nothing. I would roll nothing off the table.
Yeah, exactly. If and they're making what's perceived as some drastic changes, and certainly changes. I don't think they'll be as drastic as some expect, but
what do you think?
And he made a very curious look. We have normalized. I mentioned this with BLG last week. We have normalized this as a city, as a fan base, as a not me, but as a media group as well. We have normalized this hiring very quickly. And if it goes poorly, well, that is going to put the highlight back on just exactly what they did. I spent all weekend basically having conversations with people around the league, and it's interesting on different things and what was going on last year. We got, deep in the wormhole with some people. And there is a perception around the league that nobody wanted this job, which I think is unfair because they interviewed 17 people ultimately, and the vast majority of them would have given their left arm to get the job, and they hired 3 people. And they hired 2 people who interviewed for the job,
Right.
who got lesser jobs. So obviously, by definition, they would have taken the job. So that part of it's bullshit. But what they're really saying is anybody with options didn't want the job, which was fair. Mike McDaniel didn't want this job.
He didn't even want to interview here.
No. Brian Daboll didn't want this job, and he's friends with Nick Sirianni. He didn't want it.
And to be fair, he chose the Titans and Cam Ward.
Well, a lot of it, but there's always things like he's very close. He's even closer to Robert Saleh. Those two developed a deep friendship. And Brian Daboll, from what I'm told the Eagles, because he has a lot of respect for Nick, and he told the Eagles that he was going to take the Tennessee job early on because of his relationship with Robert Saleh. So there's always context to these things, but I mean, most of it. Look, and again, this for some reason with this fan base, it's bizarre to me. The one guy that seems to bother them more than any other one is Justin Herbert when we talk about quarterbacks. And look, nobody in this league, if they have the option to work with Justin Herbert, is going to turn down the option to work with Justin Herbert. They're just not. So I think there's a disconnect in Philadelphia about
Yeah,
it.
that makes sense to me. I mean, he's obviously one of the most talented players in the world.
Yeah. Now, Cam Ward, that there's, in theory, a bigger upside. I would not want to go down that route, but he can throw the ball. He's on the Netflix show that I've been talking about. If people haven't started watching it, Cam Ward, he can throw. He's got a lot of arm talent. So if people want to watch it and see, but yeah, I have many questions with him as a quarterback, and there'll be stuff coming out. I've written about Jalen. It's in the can. I don't know when Jeff's going to publish it. He's going to be on the show. Written about the Stoutland stuff. That's in the can. Got some interesting stuff on that. So a lot of stuff now that we're getting back will be coming out. And some interesting stories. I know Zach wrote this morning. He went, the messaging gets tiresome when when the same people hear the same messaging. So Nick works very hard on messaging, and he used ChatGPT, which was interesting. As people get more into AI, which you got to be careful with because sometimes that shit's wrong. But it does. If you use it correctly, it can obviously speed things up for you and help you do certain tasks. And if you're looking for examples of, trying to get across a message, it can be helpful. So little interesting things like that.
John, where do you think Nick Sirianni can be better as a head coach this year? I mean, I hear one of the things I hear often is he doesn't have answers. In 23, he didn't have answers. In 25, he didn't have answers. Now, I always point to 24 where he did have answers, so you can't leave that out. To me, he's had answers in moments. Now, you're not going to be perfect, obviously. But from your perspective, where can Nick Sirianni be better this year as a head football coach for the Eagles?
Well, you can always get better in your job. I mean, that's just, just the experience of it. Similar to Jalen Hurts when we talk about just the experience and the evolution and getting to see it and being more comfortable. Same thing with a head coach. The answers thing are interesting because nobody has answers except Mike McDonald, right? Last year, when you win, you have answers. When you don't win, you didn't have any answers. I don't take that too seriously. The interesting part is navigating through the stuff you have to navigate to. Like you have to move on. Look, you had to move on from Kevin Patullo. Was not untenable. Was untenable. I don't even think Kevin would have liked to stay here, but not 100% on that. But that would be my guess. But it, downstream, so to speak, it's pretty clear that Jalen Hurts wouldn't have mind continuing to work with Scott Leffler. So why was that move made? You basically sacrificed Jeff Stoutland, who's maybe the best developmental coach for an offensive lineman, to get Sean Mannion, his run game coordinator, who was a younger coach with not a lot of demonstrated performance on his resume, as is the offensive line coach. Now that's more of a, the Eagles would have liked to have kept Stoutland as the offensive line coach. So that was more of a, well, he's leaving, we got to get somebody. and they took a chance on Chris Cooper, who was basically fired in Minnesota. His contract expired, but they didn't want him back. So there's going to be concerns over that. And then Jason Michael, I mean, who's been the tight ends coach from the day Nick Sirianni has gotten here, is very close with Dallas Goedert. And he had to be sacrificed as well because of Ryan Mahaffey's got to be the tight ends coach. He can't be the offensive line coach, so he's got to be the tight ends coach. So I think there's a lot on managing the staff, and how that goes is going to be, and he admits that, it's his job to coach the coaches. And that's going to be big with Sean Mannion. I mean, Sean Mannion is obviously going to be the story because he's 3 years off his playing career. He's got 1 year as a position coach, and now he's calling plays for the Philadelphia Eagles.
With expectations you just talked about.
Yeah, that's nuts. And they're sort of, it's like a stock. They're buying low and thinking this guy's going to explode and be one of the great offensive minds in the NFL in the coming years. And if that's the case, they're probably going to lose him anyway, but it is interesting on so many levels, the entire Sean Mannion hire.
No doubt about it. Good stuff there, Johnny Mac. You'll see some more articles this week on Nick Sirianni. We'll talk about those as the show rolls on this week. We got the great Jeff Kerr in the green room. Looking forward to talking to Jeff today. We missed him last Monday. We did catch up with him on a Football Friday in the second hour of Friday's show. And now we will welcome him in here on a Monday edition. You can follow him at Jeff Kerr, PHL. Read all his work over on Sports Illustrated with Johnny Mac. Jeff Kerr, good morning to you on a Monday, my friend. How are you this morning?
Good, guys. No one's still clicking, so please read si.com/Eagles. We're not building the topical authority that they want.
Yeah, we'll get. It's that slow point of the season.
It's that time of year.
It's the slow point of the season. But it'll get going. Then this will be, so it is si.com/NFL/Eagles. More stuff will be coming out in the coming days, but certainly you do have that lull, which is real, basically, especially the last 2 weeks ending up the training camp. And once training camp kicks in, everybody's back. We see it on the show. I mean, we got a lot of loyal people, but it'll explode.
People don't want to hear so-and-so quarterback is better than Jalen Hurts right now. They just don't.
No, well, they hate that, certainly. I read one beat reporter who wrote, if you think Jalen Hurts is the 17th best quarterback, you're an idiot. That was the title of the article.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again,
guess who that was?
Was that Reuben Frank? It sounds like something he would say.
I don't know. Who was it? I didn't see.
Yeah, it was Reuben Frank.
Yeah.
It just sounds like something Reuben Frank would say.
Look, again, I think all lists are definition based, and my guess is he doesn't know the definition that list was based upon. As you know, because I've heard, and I'm not picking on Reuben, but I've heard, so many people go on national radio shows and start talking about, well, what he's done in 2022. And I'm like, all right, I'm turning this off because you don't know what the list is based on.
This is my issue with the list. As someone who stoutly defends Patrick Mahomes, you cannot sit here and tell me Patrick Mahomes is the second best quarterback in 2025. You can't.
No, I agree with that. I think he's I did my own list and I put him at 4, and even that is
and that's generous.
Too generous based on his season last year. But it seeps in, all-time great quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks of all time. But yeah, I mean, that's fair. He there's no way he was the 4th best. I admit that.
No.
There's no way he's the 4th best quarterback. And the same thing would have happened to me with Jalen. I wouldn't have put him 17th. That's and by the way, I shouldn't call that's the league. That's what the league thinks of him right now.
Yeah, it's not what we think of them.
Now, but I would have probably put him at 13, 14, somewhere in that range.
Which isn't bad.
No, it's not terrible. You know, when the first I think when you make the Super Bowl, look, you're generally overrated, and when you don't make the Super Bowl, you're generally underrated. That's how it works when you're a quarterback in this league.
I had
what it is.
I had the pleasure of getting upset this morning. John, I know you watched FIFA World Cup final yesterday. ESPN graphic, Lionel Messi 1 and 2 in FIFA World Cup finals. Well, that's wonderful. He's the only player ever to make 3 of them, though. Starting 3 of them.
Well, he's also the only reason they had a chance late, a man down to tie that thing.
This is just 1 and 2 stuff.
It's there's a big problem. We had Damo on the show Friday before you, and he admitted as a longtime Hall of Fame selector how much those guys as a group value Super Bowls, and too much in his point, because that's not what it's about. It's about consistent greatness. It's what it should be about.
That's how the subject of his book got into the Hall of Fame. Sam Mills, consistently great.
Yeah. But that's sort of the life of coaching quarterbacks in general. Well, did you win a Super Bowl? How many times you hear this guy can't win a Super Bowl? I'm like, what do you mean this guy can't win a Super Bowl? And about good quarterbacks, like who haven't won, like even
Justin Herbert's of the world.
Well, he's really good, but even if you take like a Baker Mayfield, like he can't win a Super Bowl. The fuck he can if you put the right shit around him. Now, do a lot of things have to go right? Sure. And it's much what you're getting.
Think you have to play at a certain level. I think that's where Herbert gets all the flack. The couple playoff games he's played, he hasn't really been good.
Well, that's true. But again, I went through the Matthew Stafford stuff for years with it, and everybody knew he was a great. Everybody in the league knew he was a great quarterback. Everybody outside the league, would consistently underrate him. And all of a sudden, he gets in a good situation, and he's winning the Super Bowl. He's making deep runs, and people are going, "Oh, that guy's pretty good."
And don't blame Detroit for trading for keeping him around as long as they did, because they knew he was good.
Yeah. And the funny part is, I say the same thing about John Elway. Now, a little bit different with John Elway. I always say with John Elway, he was losing Super Bowls when he was truly great, and he was winning Super Bowls when he was at the end of his career on fumes.
He was a game manager at that point.
Yeah, because of Terrell Davis and good defense and all that stuff.
The funny thing about Elway was he won in 97, 98. 96 probably should have been the year he should have got that first Super Bowl.
Yeah, in the case of, I say it all the time. There's no quarterback who's ever won a Super Bowl with a bad supporting cast. Like, that guy doesn't exist. He doesn't exist.
I'm trying to think of one, and I can't.
No, it's insane that people either, in the case of Jalen, they hold it against him because he has a good supporting cast, a great supporting cast for the most, for both Super Bowl appearances. And they hold it against talented quarterbacks who don't go as far because they don't have a great supporting cast. But you can see, one of the things I think on the quotes with Mahomes is, well, that team last year, I mean, would have won 3 games without Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, they were not a good team last year. They were an old team.
Now, I remarked at the Super Bowl, I was like, how is this a Super Bowl team when the Eagles beat? I'm like, leading into the week, I was so confident the Eagles are going to win that game. I'm like, this team isn't that good.
I think a lot of Chiefs personnel people thought the same thing. Like, not that the Eagles would beat the crap out of them, but they're like, wow, we're kind of fortunate we're here.
Yeah, and they had a great season, so when you can elevate the people around you, you can see it to like I always, too much Herbert talk because I hate to get the Eagles fans riled up. For some reason, they hate that guy. I'm like, what has he ever done to the Eagles other than?
Which is funny because Justin Herbert was the guy who got Eagles fans bought into Shane Steichen. I did an interview with him. I've done plenty of interviews with Justin Herbert, but I remember I asked him because I knew he was close to Shane Steichen. And I go, hey, what do you think of Shane Steichen? Like, you had him for a year. He's the best coach you ever had. Eagles fans ate that up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, when the Chargers beat the Eagles last year, I mean, if you watch that game and you watch it with no Joe Alt, no Rashawn Slater, they couldn't block anybody.
No, they didn't have an offense. Oh, Makai Becton was terrible last year, by the way.
He's got a broken hand coming in, and he wills into a victory. And that guy can't win a Super Bowl? Be careful. He's going to be around.
I always say everything's got to be a pissing contest now. It doesn't even matter. Even when you're on top, it's got to be a pissing contest.
Well, it's because so many people boil it down to quarterback versus quarterback.
Well, we're seeing in other sports too. Like the Phillies lost 2-3 to the Mets this weekend, and you're seeing the big mouths on Twitter go, I told you this team's not good enough to win a World Series. Okay, forget about the other 2 months where they're 45 and 25.
It's freaking July 20th.
I know. And the Phillies they're ready. They're going to collapse. That's what I keep hearing. They're going to collapse.
Well, they can't hit, but as I've learned, nobody can hit.
No one can hit. Watch the All-Star game. That's the problem. They watch one team just like here, and that's fine, but then don't act like you know everything about the league.
Yeah, that's fair. Fan bases are generally very focused in on their team, and they don't realize the opposition's out there. And
I had the NASCAR contingent last night. They all wanted North Wilkesboro back. Well, they got it, and they seem to forget that only 5 guys finished on the lead lap, and the winner wins by like 8 seconds. Oh, it was a terrible race. I'm like, they were terrible races 30 years ago.
Yeah, think about that Chicago. Think about that Chicago game when they came in here, and the Eagles fans thinking about that team, and all of a sudden Darnell Wright comes in, who probably 20% of Eagles fans even know who it is, and he's wiping out the defensive line, just wiping them out.
That's the first time I think I've seen the Eagles really get blown out since the 49ers came in a couple of years ago and just beat the doors off them.
It's very rare they get beat physically, and they got beaten physically in that game. I mean, they got beaten up physically. And he's a big, strong dude who, most people don't know offensive linemen. So probably a surprise.
They're not on fantasy teams, and you can't gamble on them.
I'll say it. They'll find a way. You can.
How many pancakes over under on pancakes?
Yeah. You can bet on the prop bets like the Cardinals director of college scouting. Ooh, by the way, how about that scandal?
Oh, that was brutal. Man, the Cardinals might be the worst run organization in all of football.
Yeah, they're out. Yeah, now that Daniel Snyder's gone, they might be.
I think it exposed Bidwell, and I give a credit that they don't have a large media contingent at all, but the ones that cover them on the daily, and I'll say a couple of my buddies at PHNX, they're the PHLY affiliate or the sister in Arizona. Oh man, do they really go after Bidwell, and they really go after like the organization. Fans enjoy it. They're like, look, no one ever criticizes this guy except for you guys. They don't care if they get their credentials pulled. They're like, well, we don't cover them. No one does.
Well, I would say, the national guys better get on this story and keep being on this story because I have a feeling it's going to go away quickly. But you have a director of college scouting
betting,
basically, betting on draft props. What they didn't think this was going to be an issue?
That's the problem, I think, with how we consume information. Like, everybody cares more about Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini than they care about that. That's an issue. Like, the latter's an issue.
Yeah, crazy. So, I mean, it's and my buddy Rob Motti broke it for the AP.
Credit to Rob, by the way.
Yeah, credit to Rob. That is crazy. And he's been suspended indefinitely as the league, I guarantee you, hopes it goes away. But this gambling thing isn't going away.
Another thing that's kind of getting swept under the rug, and I'm glad the players have really been putting it to light this week. Why are they going back to turf fields? Like, why? Why you paid all that money? Just keep it.
I don't know enough about the politics of getting the World Cup. I'm sure it's difficult. But boy, did they bend over backwards for one of the most corrupt organizations there is in FIFA. To the point of taking off the branding of the stadiums and the grass fields, as you mentioned. Crazy how they kowtow. The bottom line is
the Giants players are going after Art Stapleton this week. He goes, "Oh, you love these grass fields in July. What about December?" And you got offensive linemen, and you got guys on the team just ripping him. They're like, "You have no idea what you're talking about."
The bottom line is, if the league wanted it, it could do it, but they don't. They don't want it. That's the bottom line. Like FIFA wanted it. So I mean, it's not like there's any hurdles to cross. It's just cheaper to especially in the Northeast, to maintain it, and they're pinching pennies.
That's going to be a topic with Laurie's new stadium. Will he go turf? Well, he'll probably have to.
Well, I think so, and because there's going to be a roof. I don't even know why people have that conversation. You really think he's going to build a new stadium and be involved, and he's going to have to kick in something, and they're going to make it open air? Like, to me, it's a non-starter. Like, you just saw, they want a Super Bowl, they want a Final Four, they want big events.
This city just proven they can handle big events.
Yeah. I mean, it's to me, I don't even know why people waste 10 seconds talking about it. There's going to be a dome on this. Get used to it.
Yep. And we're all going to be used to it. And I'm okay with it. Look, say Laurie fits the bill, he's not going to fit the whole bill, but say he fits the bill, he can do whatever he wants.
If he foots the bill, there's 100% no question.
He can do whatever he wants. And look, I'm not against the dome. I'm not for a dome, but I just saw this summer this city handle a World Cup and handle an All-Star game, and they could handle an Olympics if they wanted to. At this point.
Man, Shane Gillis drew 75,000 people.
Yeah, can you imagine if it was in a dome?
75,000 people for
Isn't that crazy for Shane Gillis? I remember it was a couple years ago. He threw out the first pitch of the Phillies game, and I knew who Shane Gillis was. I think he wasn't as big yet, but man, did that thing blow up! Like, he threw a perfect strike. I'm like, really? People get this excited for Shane Gillis?
Yeah, he's a funny dude.
He is a funny dude.
Show's good. Tires on Netflix. Very good show. Best Trump impression there is by far. Nobody's even close. Nobody's even close. Yeah, Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle. Just because of for those who, I'm a big comedy guy, so Dave's usually the headliner. So,
are you a Will Ferrell guy, John? Oh, I kind of know this, but
well. Yeah, early Will Ferrell. I don't know what happened. He's past his prime. I mean, that he's got a new show on Netflix, a golf show. He's done so many great sports movies. Blades of Glory is one of the great.
Blades of Glory is one of the best movies I've ever seen.
The ABA one, I forget the name. What's
Semi-Pro.
Semi-Pro. Yeah, thank you. That's phenomenal. And he's doing golf on Netflix right now. Left a lot on the table.
He was on with Dan Patrick last week. I watched the Dan Patrick show, and I'm like, what happened to him? He's not as funny. He's funny, but he's not as funny. But
well, he's one of those, whatever term you want to use, very, to get it, to advance in Hollywood now, you have to be very politically correct, and he's done that route. And it's tough to be a comedian when you're not willing to make fun of things. It becomes much tougher.
Yeah.
So
Comedy's so different. Like I think someone, I forget, it went viral on X last week, but someone said, how did Will Ferrell go from the most universally loved comedian to the most universally hated in like 10 years? And I'm like, because you people take everything so personally now. That's the difference.
You can't make a joke. That's why.
No.
That's how.
Yeah.
But that's why guys like Gillis are so popular, because he just rips everybody.
Yeah. That's the thing. He doesn't have an agenda. He's just doing it.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, hey, good comedy talk. I like
good comedy talk. Xander likes comedies. I know he likes comedy.
Local too, obviously.
I don't get how you can. I mean, I don't get people who like try and cancel a comedian. Like that's the whole.
Oh my God, those guys, I feel bad for them.
Yeah.
You know, you got people. I saw when Jerry Seinfeld, who obviously is a legendary comedian. I forget what he was at recently, but you had people trying. Oh, it was the Knicks. It was the Knicks game during the finals. And you had people accosting him as he'd walk into Madison Square Garden. You had people accosting him to say, you know, basically say something nice about Palestine. You know, he's Jewish, obviously.
You know, he has one of the funniest jokes in the Cigar Store Indian in that episode. That is one of the funniest jokes I think he said.
There's a million classic.
But that you know where I'm going with that one.
I don't know immediately, but
you remember when he was like trying to tell Wyona, the girl he was trying to see, that he wasn't racist.
Yeah.
he asked the Chinese person where the Chinese restaurant was, and he flips out at him.
Oh yeah, well,
Kramer's going by with the Cigar Store Indian.
He also wanted to copy a TV guide back. Copy a TV. You can't be an Indian. Oh, you call it. You had to catch
that one is just consistently funny. The B storyline, the A storyline. You just gotta laugh.
Yeah, if you can't take a joke, maybe you shouldn't be listening to comedians to begin with. But yeah, I mean, so they're accosting Jerry Seinfeld outside Madison Square Garden to, basically, you know, for political means. It's like, what do you people do?
Why
Don't you have jobs?
Sensitive. When did this happen?
Yeah. Don't even get me started.
I mean, I was told 20, 30 years ago, just watch what you say. And I still watch what I say.
Yeah. Don't even get me started. I mean, there's one of the funniest. No, I won't go there. I'll get in trouble. I'll get canceled.
Get canceled? Can you actually get canceled, John?
I don't think I'm big enough to get canceled, but
I don't think I am either.
Fucking canceling you, so you can say what you want. If it doesn't violate the YouTube terms of service, then go ahead, my friend.
I don't even. Is there a YouTube terms of service? Sam?
You can't do a lot of shit on YouTube now. It's like,
it's gotten a little out of hand.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I don't get it. Why?
They're a private company. You know, at the end of the day, we are.
But you can't violate the YouTube terms of service, but you can make stuff up on YouTube that isn't true.
Oh yeah, that you can do.
Yeah. Come on.
Anyway, all right. I don't want to go down that route.
You guys know how it is. Certain stuff in the world is just off limits, you know, and every tech company has agreed it's all off limits. So we stay away from those things.
Yeah, I mean, it creates more problems than it's worth. You know, if I were doing a political show, I would say it, but I'm not. So
yeah,
there's no use.
I don't talk politics for that reason.
Worth the squeeze.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, you saw the other week with the World Cup. I mean, even yesterday, they were making a big deal of Messi, whatever he did with Trump.
What did he do? I missed that.
He barely acknowledged him, and people were trying to zoom in and do it. I'm like, man, sometimes you just don't want. First off, he ain't his president, so I wouldn't do that either.
Yeah, I don't. Who cares? Would be my you know.
Yeah, well, people care about.
I know, you know, one of the best things for a man of the World Cup is, you know, they go around the stadium and pick out the nicest looking women, and there's no shortage of them. And generally
Brett
show
Musburger
them.
would know about that.
Yeah, and generally show them on. They get in trouble for that now. I'm like, all right, it's not worth it. It's like, what? It's absurd. The country we live in today.
It's a double standard. There's a lot of double standards in this country, and you can't fire back. That's the irony.
You got a bunch of men watching sports, and they like to look at pretty women. Shocker! Like that surprises people.
I had to tell a fan on Twitter. Someone called me a shill for the Phillies organization. I work for the organization. I said, I don't work for the organization. I cover the team.
I love it. You know, I tell Zander, I love it. I have so many emails. I'm a shill. Like, I'll probably get an email about my story about Nick today. Oh, you're a shill. And then the same people say, oh, you're a hater. You hate them. You root for them.
Then you're doing your job.
Yeah. You hate them. As I, plot weekly at the Penrose to take down the Philadelphia Eagles.
You and DeCecco.
Take them down, boys.
You guys are writing them all down, writing down all your notes.
Take them down.
How can we ruin the Eagles today?
Yeah. Take them down.
No, I do think one of the things, and maybe you guys can speak to this more, being reporters yourself, that has changed in the modern age that we're in is I don't even feel as though you guys, and I don't blame you for it, I don't feel as though you guys have the ability to try and uncover things at the same level as you.
I would agree with that.
You know, and look, I always say this. If I'm one of you, which I'm not, I wouldn't risk my livelihood to do it either. You know, that's how you pay bills. That's how you feed your family. I understand all those things, but I do feel as though that's changed in our world, which I have a hard time. I don't like, but
there's a gray area. And look, I cover two teams. There's definitely a gray area. I've been a part of it. I violated the gray area, and you get slammed for it.
I know. I'm sure you do. Yeah.
Anything you break, it's like they want to know.
Yeah, well, that's the part that has gotten to, like, there's so much shit that I know about this team that I can't talk about.
Yeah.
Because, nobody will go on the record because they know what will happen to them. It's very hard. Like I'm sitting on something right now that's pretty big story, but it's very hard to, unless you get them to go on the record, it's very hard to impart it without making it pretty clear where it came from, or making it, there's only a couple people in a certain room. And those people are trying to have careers as well. So that's what's amazing to me is that people have such an interest in the NFL that it's become this glorified CIA-like environment. I don't know how else to describe it. Subterfuge.
Baseball is so different than the NFL, and like, I'm sometimes afraid when I break stuff, like, because I know people know who I'm talking to. So are they gonna suffer the repercussions?
Well, that's another thing. If you are seen talking to a particular person or interacting with a particular, I saw this with the goofy wrestling fans. Well, he talks to so-and-so, so he got it from him. Completely untrue.
Yeah. That's like me with a lot of people. I'm like, some of these people I talk to, we don't even talk about baseball.
Yeah, mainly I don't. I don't
talk about that stuff with them. Just don't. Like,
but yeah, people make that perception. Like when Gannon was here, like I was pretty close to Gannon. People, he's getting it from Gannon. No, I'm not. but that's the perception. Just is what it is.
Yeah, I've sat down with athletes and had beers with them before, and I don't think we ever talked about their day job.
Well, if I see somebody out in Haddonfield or somewhere, yeah, I don't talk about freaking football. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I don't like talking about my job half the time.
No, I tell Zander all the time. I don't like going out because
Yeah,
not that but people always want to talk about the Eagles, and I'm like,
yeah,
I'm not trying to be a dick, but I don't want to talk about the freaking
yeah. It was funny. So my buddy,
anything but the Eagles.
Yeah,
Please,
but
holy.
My buddy who grew up with, he is great at this, right? He runs a funeral home, and he tells people when we're out, look, do you think he really wants to talk about that? Well, he's got the dream job because I got the dream job too. I'm cremating people. I don't want to talk about it.
I get the dream.
It's a good business.
It's a great business. Yeah. And it's funny. I'll talk about Eagles and Phillies and everything with him, but he's not asking you 24 hours a day.
Boy, I never talk about the Eagles other than people in the industry. Never.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just don't like answering those questions all the time. I'm like, man, I'm just trying to get away from it for a couple hours.
Yeah. What do you think, AJ? I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Now there are some people they're honest about it. Like they just want to know info, and like, when I'm bowling, I'll tell them. Like they'll be like, hey, what do you think? Like, is AJ Brown really getting traded? I'm like, yeah, he's getting traded, and then that's it, done.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's part of it, but yeah, generally people don't want to talk about it. You do want to get away from it, but
yeah. Jeff, what do you think of Saquon Barkley's home getting burglarized over there?
Isn't that crazy? Like, I mean, I know where he lives. I know a lot of people know where he lives, but
they know now.
Yeah, they definitely know where he lives now.
Well, you want that, the entire media publishing the town.
I feel so bad for him because he wanted to keep that so as discreet as he could. Like, he definitely like.
If you knew where moves from there, right? I mean,
he moved there. Like,
no, but I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised if he moves from that home. Like,
yeah,
it's got to make you at least think about it.
Oh yeah, it's a Trump time. And by the way, you're in where he's at. I mean, like, I've talked to him about this before. Like, it's a safe area.
Yeah, it's a rich area.
Crazy. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, speaking of, I keep bringing it up because I've been watching it. Quarterback, the new season of quarterback, Joe Flacco, who obviously is South Jersey guy, still lives in South Jersey, is on the show, and they're freaking splashing up exactly where he lives, and I'm like, what are we doing here, man?
Yeah.
They got the town up, which you can guess the town, but I mean, they're showing his kids at football practice, and I used to live in that town, so I know exactly where that practice field is, and I'm like, what are we doing? Really? We're doing this? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's crazy, right? I mean, I don't know where you guys. I know the vicinity of where you guys live. I don't know exactly where you live.
Yeah. I was amazed. I'm like, you can do the same thing without putting up the town and just generic.
Yeah. Just say Chester County. You don't even have to say that.
Yeah.
Southeastern PA.
Well, once something, I mean, I don't blame the media for.
Yeah. Well, that was the police report.
Once there's
too.
a police report, I mean,
yeah,
it is what it is.
I mean, I didn't want to write about it this weekend because I don't really know anything outside of the police report, and I have respect for the player, and it's not my business. So,
yeah, it sucks though. It sucks.
It does.
That's where we are.
I was upset.
Those guys we talked about before you came on. Those guys know their targets, especially the guys who make a ton of money. So
I hate to admit this, but before the police report came out, there were some rumblings about that happened. I won't say how I found out, but
Yeah, it's
yeah,
it's a sad.
it sucks. I just shook my head. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
It's sad state of the world.
Yep.
But we do. That's a bad segue. But we do. We're a week away, Jeff. Basically, they'll report a week from tomorrow, and then we're off and running on training camp. I think with all the Sirianni stuff that's going to be coming out over the next
John
couple
had a good
days,
article today, by the way.
a couple more in the can are coming. I don't know when, but
one will be tomorrow, and the other one will be Wednesday. So yeah, it's a good morning story for us.
So that'll keep trickling out this week. I do think there's going to be a more of the clarity of this change in offense is about the freaking running game, which I've been saying on this show for a long time now. But everybody's obsessed with the passing game.
This offense still revolves around Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, it does. And it's going to be interesting from the standpoint, like I think the move toward more, the Shanahan style, the traditional play action under center, that does help Saquon, but I think it hinders the +1 of Jalen Hurts, and maybe they're legislating. That's the most interesting part of me. Are you going to legislate the running game out of Jalen Hurts' toolbox?
They should. I'm appalled that they don't do it. Like,
they should, in my estimation. Like, why don't you want that? But I,
Wait, Jeff, you think they should?
No. I was agreeing with John. Sorry, my words were.
I was going to say,
but no. They should maximize every bit of Jalen Hurts' running ability.
Yeah, you would think.
Run this guy into the ground and then ditch him.
I don't. That's the part that I don't get. It's like, Saquon Barkley's already proven he can handle working offset shotgun. I mean, he had one of the greatest seasons in NFL history.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I get he doesn't have as many options. But again, that to me ignores the fact that the offensive line was banged up.
As someone who played defense and someone who's taught the defensive coaches, like, it is a living nightmare when you got to try to stop Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley on the ground. So why would you limit it?
When he can pull it. And by the way, I heard somebody this morning. This stuff bothers me. I don't know why. It shouldn't, quite frankly. Said, well, they got to modernize it.
What does that mean?
More play action. I'm like, what? Now play action is modern? It's been around for 50 years.
That was in the first Madden game, guys. That was 40 years ago.
What are we doing here?
They don't know what modernization is.
In a lot of ways, the modernization of play action was the RPO. That was modernized.
Yeah.
That's a different style of play action. More than the traditional, the quarterback's 7-step drop. You fake the handoff. Aaron Rodgers. That's not modern.
No.
I really, there's a lot of people who talk and they have no idea what they're talking about. Modernization, more play action.
But they'll get the traction, John.
Well, sure. I mean, if you got a big platform, you get traction.
Yeah, but, I saw, like I said, I just said earlier about the Phillies thing, oh, they're going to collapse. Season's over. I told you they were bad. When did you tell me that? Did it take you 2 months to say that they were bad? Because they lost one series?
They're going to be in the freaking playoffs. Who cares?
Exactly. Okay, they don't have a fifth starter. I wrote about it.
You don't need a fifth starter in the playoffs.
Yeah, you need it to get there. I do agree with that, but.
Well, not really. I mean, they're going to get there with no fifth starter.
I was actually joking. I was pretty impressed. Their fifth starter hasn't won a game, whoever it is, since May 18th, and they've still played 15 over 500.
Well, if
during
you have
the show.
three great starters,
Which they do.
and you can get there. And if you get there, you don't need it.
John, am I going to be seeing you this weekend when they play the Yankees?
No. Are they here?
Yeah, they're here.
Oh, I might, maybe. It depends. I'm not gonna, if they let me in. If I'll contact Ricky.
Yeah, I was gonna say just contact Ricky. It's we're
Or
gonna have our
Oscar.
little reunion.
Ricky or Oscar.
Well, Oscar doesn't do it anymore.
Sometimes my wife gets free tickets. She always asks for Yankee tickets.
You want to go to the game? We could probably get you a set of tickets. Send Johnny Mac down to the Yankees. Is it Yankees Phillies in Philly this weekend?
Yeah.
Nice.
Martin Frank and I a couple years ago, John was in our vantage point from the press box. And we were joking about taping John watching a baseball game. How many people will watch? I bet more people will watch it than you would think.
Well, the Yankees blew them out. So,
they did blow. Josh Chisholm had 2 home runs that night.
Yeah. Was it Judge? Judge had 2.
Judge hit the clock in batting practice. The clock that's not there anymore.
Yeah, I got there late and I was walking in just as he hit his first home run. I was like, God damn it, I missed it. But he's not playing, so they're terrible, by the way. You talk about a team that can't hit. So I don't know. If my wife got tickets, I'll go. If not, I'm probably not going to bother Ricky. Because they stink. And the Phillies are going to beat them, so I'll just be miserable.
I don't know. If you talk to a Phillies fan, they can't win any games.
Well, you talk to a Yankees fan, and they can't win any games.
They must be Eagles fans, too.
Jeff, aren't the Phillies a couple games back right now?
Yeah, there were only 3 back. But
yeah,
have you talk about the Phillies on X? They're the worst organization in the world.
Have you seen the point differentials between them and who's number 1 right now? Mets, right?
The Braves are first.
The Braves. Have you seen?
The Phillies have a negative run differential.
And the Braves are like plus 100 or something.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Back. That's tough.
I used to tell people like the stats I hate more than anything else in the world, and one of them is run differential. I'm like, okay, so you win 5 in a row, you win 5 games by 1 run, then you lose the 6, 15-1. Yeah, you're gonna have a negative run differential. That's the Phillies.
By the way, what do they call that little section where it was seated when I was there, when you guys saw me? The Phillies,
Hall of Fame Club?
The Hall of Fame Club. It's got to be the Hall of Fame Club. I'm not sitting
that.
with I gotta be in the Hall of Fame Club. I'm not going to sit out in freaking left field.
You don't like to sit with the common folk?
No, let's be honest. No. So anyway. That'll get me in trouble, but no, yeah. So generally that's where my wife's company gets tickets. So I don't know if they still get them, but if they do, you might see me. Probably not though.
Probably in section 219 where you're always at.
Yeah.
That was the section.
But all right. What should we do to finish it up with Jeff Kerr and the Eagles? Where are we with the Eagles?
I did rank the top 10 players 25 and under.
Where are we on our top 25 list?
We're on Saquon Barkley right now. We're at 4.
We are at 4.
All right, so wait, we did what, up to 7? Because was Devontae Smith 7? Yeah, because Mailata. I already ripped you for Mailata, Kerr. I mean,
yeah. You already did it. We did that on Friday.
I don't need to rip you today for that. We had Mailata 8 and Devontae was 7, right?
Yes.
All right, so we need 6 and 5, and then you said Saquon was 4.
Yeah, John, you did what? You did Jalen Carter, right?
I did do Jalen Carter. Yes,
he was 5, if I remember.
Correct.
And 6 too.
4 was. I mean, 6 was.
I'm pulling it up.
6 was Zach Bond.
Ooh, all right.
Yeah, a little low for Zach Bond, in my opinion.
Yeah. You had him 3rd. I
had him 3rd.
Yeah,
I had him 3rd. So we'll give it all. We'll expose. We're not hiding Diana Rossini's votes, so we're going to give all the votes. So Devontae was 7. That's where we left off. Jeff had him 8th. I had him 6th. Ed had him number 5. Zach Bond was number 6 overall. Jeff had him number 6. I had him number 3. Ed had him number 8. Ed's losing his mind.
Yeah, Ed brought him down. And then
Um,
I'm the reason Jalen Carter's 5th.
Yeah, Jalen Carter coming off the season he had, I couldn't put him that high. Jeff put him, he's number 5 overall. Jeff had him number 2.
Pound for pound, baby. That's what I want.
I had him number 8. Ed had him number 7. And Saquon is number 4. Jeff had him at number 4. I had him at number 7. Same thing last year, just didn't have a good year. Ed had him number 4 as well. So we have 3 left, alphabetical order. Who's left? Cooper DeJean, Lane Johnson, Quinyon Mitchell.
Wow.
Pretty good list.
Those are your 3 potentials to finish it off.
Lane, but Lane only played half the year last year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's always, like, obviously, Jeff's leaning on talent with Jalen Carter. We're all leaning to a certain extent. But the thing about Lane, remember when he did play last year, he was still freaking great.
Yeah, that's the thing.
In the first 9 games or whatever, he was great.
I had Lane. I'll reveal this. I had Lane number 1 and I changed it.
I couldn't put him 1. But he's been 1 in the past. And I do think people forget how well he was playing before he got hurt.
Yeah.
So to me, like, Saquon and Jalen had bad seasons, Jalen Carter, for their, certainly Saquon coming off 2024, but also Jalen Carter coming off 20. They had bad. Lane was not having a bad season.
No, Lane has been Lane would have been a first team All-Pro last year if he was healthy the whole season.
Yeah. So I think there's a little bit of a difference, which is, but that's where we are. 3 guys. Changing of the guard, 2 young guys in Lane Johnson.
When I ranked the top 10 players 25 or younger, it was actually really hard to rank them because there are a lot of good players on this team that are 25.
I don't understand the 25 or under card. Like, everybody does that. Like, why is that demarcation line? Like, who cares? Then I got to look at people's birthdays. Oh, He turns 25 on July 25th.
Because it signifies that you're young, John, in the NFL world.
It's bizarre to me. It's like,
who do you think I ranked 1 on that list?
The best 20 under 25?
The best 25 or under. And he is 25.
Well, first of all, I'd have to look at how old they are.
Well, that's what the point of the exercise is. It's to get people like, oh, he's really young.
Well, Quinyon's and Cooper are under 25, right?
Yeah,
so
they were
one of them.
They were 1 and 2.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of the under 25 exercise.
Jalen Carter,
because I got to look up everybody's age to begin with, and then I'm like, oh, well, then you have to make a cutoff point of the age. Like, is this his 25 season or is this he's 25? Literally,
he's 25 years old, and he's will be 25 when the
because if you turn 25 and if you turn 26 on September 8th, are you still on the like that?
When you are 25 come week 1, you count. That's how I count it.
All right. Well, at least that's a definition.
Yeah.
So if you turn 25 in October, 26, sorry. You still count.
You still count. Yeah. It's your quote unquote age 25 season.
Yeah. So
I'm not going to fault a player for having a fall birthday because his parents decided to consummate in January.
Well, that's why I'm saying I don't care how old they are. Can they play?
Well, the Eagles got a lot of people 25 or under that can play.
And for all the 25-year-olds that can play, they're probably not going to be able to play for as long and as good sustained as Lane Johnson.
I got an article coming out today. Speaking of, can this guy play? I'm going to get Eagles fans excited about Makai Lemon, and it has nothing to do with it has a lot to do with Kenny play, but this is more of a testament to the guy who traded up to get him.
Howie?
Yes. Because when he trades up for these first-round picks, they usually are pretty good.
Howie gets too many flowers. Okay.
Well, he's getting one flower. I only give him one flower. I don't give him the whole rose bush.
Yeah. Well, Howie's very good at his job.
He is very good at his job.
But even that said, he gets too many flowers. The guy's, he's got too many. Stop sending him flowers, everybody. He's got too many flowers. He can't.
Well, the
take
Timo all season was terrible last year.
Not well. See, now I'm going to defend him. That it was a Timo off season for a reason. I mean, he had.
But you knew that going in, though. But it's just funny when you cover two sports. One guy has a Timo all season and he's universally beloved, and the other guy has one, and he needs a trade deadline to fix it. Yeah, isn't that what Howie did?
He had to reset the coffers, and to a certain degree, it was still going on this offseason. A little bit better, but not significant.
I mean, I'll give Howie his flowers. His biggest weakness was the draft, and now he aces it.
Howie's biggest weakness is loyalty.
That is a weakness.
With players, I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like Jake Elliott being a perfect example.
John, that might have been your best article of the offseason. They didn't bring in competition for him.
Yeah, what a ridiculous thing that they did. I didn't read John's
article. I mean, it's terrible. Like I did advanced numbers on him. He's terrible. That's unacceptable.
He has been bad.
He is the Adolis Garcia of the Eagles.
He's made whatever 27 of 28 field goals in the postseason, so he's loyal to him.
Yeah, fine, but he almost cost him a playoff game because he missed an extra point in a playoff game.
Taking out, since you brought up the Temu offseason, which I should have trademarked, by the way.
Is it Temu or Temu? I always get that mixed up.
I always say Temu. I don't know though. Yeah, good point. Could be either. Other than Tariq Woolen, who actually got significant money on it's still a 1-year deal, but
that was a good signing, by the way.
Somewhat, yeah, should be somewhat significant money. Who is the best of the Temu signings this year?
This year, there are a couple I actually liked, and I don't want to call it they gave him real money, but they gave him more money than what they gave him last year. I think Hollywood Brown could be a benefit for them. I think Arnold Ebiketie can be a benefit for them. They'd probably be they're the two that stand out, but there are a couple of his signings I like.
Yeah, I think they are, I'm not a big Hollywood Brown guy. I do think Ebiketie gives them better
something
depth,
they didn't have
obviously.
last year.
Yeah, better depth, but I'm not sure. And so does AJ Epinesa later, but I'm not sure how much those guys watching Vic. He tends to, especially with Grenard there, is going to play a lot. And now you got to get Hunt more snaps. I'm not sure how much they're going to play.
Yeah. But it's nice to have him.
No, yeah, it's good depth. I love the Jonathan Jones signing.
I did too. Yeah, that was the other one. I think I called that one the most underrated sign they had the entire all season.
Yeah, and he only got $2 million, but man, he is a good player. And
fully guaranteed.
You don't want Quinyon Mitchell or Reek Woolen to get hurt, but if they miss a game because of a hamstring or something, like he can play, and he can play in the slot as well. He can be the backup slot, so you can save a.
Well, when they signed him, I thought he was going to be the slot guy, and I knew he could play on the outside. But I'm like, this guy knows Fangio's defense. Because Belichick did it, and I mean, look, his year last year, Washington was a joke. Like, I don't even count it. I thought that was a really good signing when they brought him in.
Yeah, he's my favorite of the Temu signings. Besides,
do we count the re-signings like bringing back Marcus Epps? Do we count that?
No, if they're here, I don't count them. Just the guys you're bringing in. Yeah, but Marcus came back on a deal. So did Temu deal. So did Grant Calcaterra. So
I
did
don't think Johnny Munt's a bad signing either.
yeah. I think I think he's limited, but he's a very good blocker. I do think I don't put him. I didn't do it this year. Maybe I'll do it before camp starts this week. But I always do my 100%er club.
Yeah, right.
Like going
Yeah.
into the training camp. Who's 100% going to be on this roster?
Oh,
And I always say 100% means 100%. That's what.
Yeah,
Like,
they're the definition of a lock.
yeah. So Tanner McKee is not in the 100% club. He's going to be
Here's
here.
Andy Dalton. Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. But they could, in theory, be traded. So, I
It's gonna be
mean,
interesting, like, where is the roster crunch going to come for the 53? Like, they're the positions that come to mind for like how many they're going to keep are like corner and safety, so defensive backs, defensive linemen, wide receivers, and then offensive line depth. Like how many of those are they keeping? And then if you keep one extra somewhere, let's say you keep 10 or 11 offensive linemen, do they cut an extra corner or, because they have Cooper? Like, I think it's going to be interesting to see. Like, I could see a world where Ty Robinson, for example, doesn't make the initial 53.
Oh, I could see that.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I could see that.
yeah, he wouldn't be on my 100%er club, Ty
No.
Robinson.
I would have Byron Young on my 100%er club over Ty
See, I
Robinson.
wouldn't. He might get traded too.
Oh, well, that's what I'm thinking too. But if we're just doing like these guys don't get traded,
Like if Ty Robinson plays well,
Byron Young
might-
gets traded.
yeah, they might trade Byron Young. So that's why I say 100% means 100%.
Yeah, like
Now,
Dallas Goedert's 100%. He's on
Yeah.
the team.
Yeah, Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley. You generally get to 30-ish. A little bit more
Dontavian
than
Wicks is
30.
a prime example. He's
Dontavian Wicks
100%.
is 100%er. Obviously, Makai Lemon, the rookie, rookies, Eli Stowers, they're
Eli
100%.
Stowers, Markel Bell, they're 100%.
Yeah. The entire starting offense, those guys. That's who I'm talking about. Those guys. Now,
Your 22 guys that start. Well, not even them, because like
no, I can't put
Marcus Epps
Epps
yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As 100%, but he's 95.
I wrote about this during the dog days, like the 2022 safety competition. You remember who started the first day of training camp, John?
2022 was that the boy? Why do I always forget that guy's name? Came from Tampa, Justin Evans' season, who won the job in the last week. Was that year?
That was 23. 22 was Anthony Harris.
Oh yeah, I love Ant.
Yeah.
Good dude, man. Good dude.
Yeah, it was Marcus Epps and Anthony Harris, and we thought maybe Jaquaski Tart could get it. Never happened.
Jaquaski Tart. Oh,
Yeah.
Bringing back memories.
Yeah, like I put the safeties on. I'm like,
I once talked to Anthony Harris for a full 45 minutes in the locker room. He is a interesting dude, man. Him and Thomas Booker. I once did that with Thomas Booker.
Oh, Thomas Booker's awesome. I love Thomas Booker.
45 minutes just talking to Thomas Booker. Smart guy, man. Stanford guy.
Senator Booker.
Yeah, I call him, Senator Booker. He could be a senator if he wants to go that way after his career.
I remember I talked to him the year he came in. We talked for pretty much like you did, 45 minutes, just talking though. And it was the most random thing. We're talking about recruiting rankings and what they were in college. And it was like me, him, Fred Johnson, like a bunch of these guys are talking about Silva Pedicos, 0 stars.
I was surprised just how lightly regarded Baker Mayfield was coming into college.
Yeah. Well, I said to Fred, this is when I first talked to Fred. I said, Fred, correct me if I'm wrong. Weren't you a top 20 player in high school? He said, yeah, I'm 17. He's like, good memory.
Big Fred. Well, Fred's.
And that was overall, by the way. That was overall.
Fred's going to kick the crap out of people in high school. I mean, my God.
Oh, yeah.
He's just bigger than everybody.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Like, and Booker was a 4-star. Like, BG was a 5-star, and I know BG's story. He committed to Penn State.
Oh boy, Michigan guy committing to Penn State.
You know why BG didn't go through with it?
I'll tell you one Michigan guy who would not commit to Penn State. Martin Frank.
Yep.
Yeah.
BG went. Ron Vanderlinden, Tom Bradley, Joe Paterno, they wined and dined him. He told him he was going, told his parents he was going. His parents said, "You ain't leaving the state, bud. Sorry."
I think BG made the right decision ultimately.
I told him I think you ended up making the right call, but
yeah, those high school rankings are bullshit, man. No offense to any of the rivals people or whoever does it now, but they are just
I was with a coach one time and we were watching one of LeBron's kids. And he literally just tapped me on the shoulder and goes, "You cannot tell me this guy is a top 20 player in high school. You can't." I said, "I know he's not."
Yeah, I think there's some money changing hands for some.
Oh, there is. Trust me, there is.
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah. So I don't take him too seriously. And then when I see like 0-star recruits turn into first round NFL picks, I'm like, how valuable is that stuff?
Yeah. I mean, look at Sua Opeta. He made a career out of it.
Yeah, Sua's.
Well, here's one for you. I'll change sports. Brandon Nimmo. Wyoming did not have high school baseball. He was a first-round draft pick. How do you scout him?
Well, how do you scout Jordan Mailata? How do you scout Bernard?
Uar Bernard. That's going to be a fun story to watch in camp. He ain't going to do anything, but it's going to be a fun story.
Yeah. I'm going to put Ed on Uar Bernard watch. I'm already tired of it.
Wait, so does he have the exemption thing though? Like, will he make the roster without taking up a spot, or is that?
So the international player exemption works for the 91 for the 90-man roster. He has to make the 53.
Yeah. Well, you have to. You have the exemption on the practice squad, but you have to go through waivers. So, right now he's their IPP exemption. They would still have to waive him at the cut to 53. If he gets through waivers, then he can use the IPP exemption on the practice squad.
On the practice. But they might want to use that on, they might want to protect Bernard and use that on Joshua Waru, for example.
Yeah. But if they don't want to risk losing him, they have to keep him on the 53, basically.
Yeah.
So the thought is they're going to keep him on the 53 because they don't want to risk losing him. And then if they do that and they cut Waru and he gets through waivers, then they could use the IPP exemption on Waru as the extra guy on the practice squad. That would be my guess.
I mean, John, I know he's not 100%er, but it kind of feels like Uar Bernard's going to be 100%er.
No, I can't go that far, but I would say he's 95.
Yeah, I would go that route.
I would lean very, very heavily. But if he shows up and he's just got nothing, I mean.
So they gave me a fun one to do this week. We're doing our camp previews, and it's one of those, like, you do the full 90-man roster. Like, you're doing the 100%ers, but, like, who are the locks? Who are kind of locks? And, the rest of them, right? Or who has no shot? And then you just kind of break it down. It's like, I don't know if you ever remember the game show, like 1 versus 100, where you, like, 100 people answer questions. If you get them wrong, you're out. It's kind of like what this is.
The camp bodies, to be nice. You know, you never know. I'll tell you what, Reed Blankenship was a camp body for a lot of people. I
mean, I'm one of those people. I'm a big Kapina Gushkin fan, and I'm a big Maximus Pulley fan, and that's because of the position. If they played quarterback, I would not think that, but they play safety.
Goosh. When Vic called the goosh, everybody got excited.
Yeah, I think it's because he couldn't pronounce his name.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
So you're not buying the conspiracy. You only give nicknames to people you're keeping around.
Goosh. Yeah, he has one.
I say this as a guy who's got a bunch of nicknames. It's
Yeah, agreed.
Capina. Yeah, Vic's not going to say Capina.
By the way, Zander, did I ever tell you where I don't trust people? Like, I don't even have to meet them. If they give themselves their own nickname, I'm out.
Who gives that?
I'm out. I'm out.
That's like Costanza calling himself T-Bone. Come on.
Yeah, T-Bone. Yeah,
So
exactly.
are you out on LeBron James?
Because I thought someone gave him the king.
No. King James? That's been his thing forever.
I don't know who gave.
Oh, I'm not a big LeBron guy.
I never thought about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't give yourself a nickname.
Yeah, you can't give yourself a nickname. Like Zander, you gave McMullen Johnny Mac.
No.
I've been Johnny Mac since
Mac forever, yeah.
Oh yeah. I should say long before that, but
yeah,
To your point, I don't think
Johnny
John Upton. That's kind of the natural nickname for John McMullen, Johnny Mac.
Yeah, I've been Johnny Mac.
I have to tell people all the time when people go Jeffrey, I'm like, I'm not Jeffrey, I'm Jeff. Well, that's your full name. I'm like, it is my full name.
Speaking of LeBron, is he coming to Philly?
I don't
know. I don't think he is, but I don't know.
I don't think he wants any part of this shit show. But that's just. By the way, speaking as a Jeffrey, what is the deal with the ERY people?
Oh, I don't like them either. That's why I like Jeffrey Lurie. He's REY.
What are we doing?
Wait, what do you mean?
Some people spell
Jeffrey ERY. That's
ERY.
Jeff
Some people
that's
spell it.
Jeffrey. Yeah.
Like Jeffrey Simmons, I had to double check. He's an ERY. I'm like, what are you doing?
That feels perfectly normal to me. Jeffrey.
Well, what you can't have it both ways. Pick a way. I prefer
people spell so many names 100 different ways.
They don't spell Zander's name any different, do they?
Yeah, they do. My
dad really?
used to get mad at me. It should be spelled with an X. Z.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I like the Z. I think the Z is way better than X.
My father chose the Z.
It's too close. There's
like 13 ways to spell Sean.
Nate Bargatze does that sketch on Saturday Night Live where, he's doing our pointing out all the stupid things we do as a society. Spell things different ways, all that kind of stuff. And he said he went with Jeff. We'll spell Jeff two ways, with a J and the stupid way with a G.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah, I guess
someone
that's for you, Mosher, if you're listening.
Someone actually said to my parents
stupid
one time,
way.
I never saw my parents so mad in their life. When I was like a kid, someone's like, "Oh, you named him after Jeffrey the giraffe." Oh man, did they lose it?
Yeah.
No, I was not named after the Toys R Us.
No, the problem I have with REY versus ERYs, they're so similar. It's like, come on. All right, you can do the Jeff G thing.
How is your name spelled? Your full name?
Jeffrey, the correct way.
Most people spell it that way.
Yeah. I know 4 Jeffs, and they all spell it like that. Jeffrey.
Jeffrey Simmons is one who spells it ERY.
When I was in preschool, funny story, we used to have these, like, I forget what they were, like an animal thing, and it had our names on it. And I said, my name's not on it. Yeah, it is. No, it's not. They're like, it's right there. It's Jeffrey. I'm like, that's not me. That's somebody else.
If you're going to spell it ERY, then you should just call yourself Jeff.
Yeah. I go by Jeff because this is why I go by Jeff. My best friend in grade school was a Jeff, right? So every time someone said Jeff, we looked, and we're like, Jesus Christ, this is getting old. So he went by Jeffrey, and I went by Jeff.
Jeffrey Lurie spells it REY.
Yeah, that's why I like Jeffrey Lurie.
He's a billionaire.
It's REY.
So he wins.
Yeah, he's
That's
a winner.
the way you do it.
Yep.
All right, then. Didn't know we get into some Jeffrey talk, but hey, why not?
I still think he should go by Jeff Lurie, but
no, he's too rich. He's got to go.
I know. Yeah.
He's got to go.
I just say how I put my full name on LinkedIn and people just message me, "Hi Jeffrey." I'm like, it's Jeff. Just go by Jeff.
It's funny. I used at JF McMullen, which is a very pretentious way to do it. And I found this out, like, I don't use Jet. It's because there's so many John McMullens. I couldn't get John McMullen on Twitter at the time. So I had to do something. So I went with at JF McMullen, my middle name. And then one time, we hadn't been on Zoom in a while. It was like when Doug Peterson was doing a Zoom as the Jags coach when they still did coach conference calls, and he wanted to do it with us. And good for Doug, but so we hadn't used Zoom in a while, and I got my laptop out. We were at the complex, and I got my laptop out, and I'm like, crap, it's going to update all this Zoom updating. And it took away my John McMullen thing, and for some reason it came up as at JF McMullen because I linked Twitter. I don't know what the hell I did, so it came up with at JF McMullen, and I look like such a pretentious asshole. It's like, oh, JF McMullen, it's like anyway, little funny story, but there because Doug knew me as John, so it's like
I missed the opponent conference calls on a Wednesday. I thought they were more informative than anything you got from your home base.
It depends on the coach. I mean,
well, yeah, but I mean,
all the veteran coaches. It's funny, were great, and all of the younger coaches sucked.
But I'm talking like 20 years ago, even when I would read stuff. I remember like even reading Reuben Frank's stuff from like 20 years ago, and he would always do a story on that. And I'm like, okay, see, I'm more interested in this than I am the own team.
Yeah, the certain guys were great with that, and would always do them. Even it slowly trickled to just the veteran coaches who saw it as part of their job. And then,
if I'm correct, Andy Reid still does it.
Andy likes to do them.
Yeah,
Andy's not great though, to be honest.
No, he never gives you anything. He never does. He's never giving you anything.
But certain guys, Mike McCarthy, good. Mike Zimmer was good.
I could see Mike Zimmer being good.
Certain old school guys who were...
I still laugh how when Eagles fans love to mock Andy, I gotta do a better job. I'm like, you ever think he does that on purpose? Like, use your head.
Oh, and yeah, of course he does. Yeah.
I'm like, are you that stupid? Like, I say that all the time. Like I have people ask me about Don Mattingly. Like, people go, do you really think Don Mattingly doesn't know something? I said, yes and no. I said, he ain't giving it away. That's for sure.
Donnie Baseball.
I did get him. I did get him about a prospect the other day, though.
It pains me to see him. Oh, well, I could have told you that major league managers don't pay two shits to prospects. I could have
Rob Thompson did, but Rob Thompson was a special breed.
I could have told you that. They don't give a shit.
I just remember I cornered him the other day. I asked him about, Dante Nori's injury, and he's giving me this spiel about how well he's playing. I'm like, Don, he hasn't played in 5 weeks. He goes, well, before that.
When we used to have stringers, I had somebody, you get these nerds who are essentially fans that get to talk to like managers or coaches, and they just ask some really mundane shit that it's like you cringe. And I remember it was Girardi about the Dominican thing that he was the Yankees manager at the time. The Dominican basically system they had down there because they had an actual system. And he's like, what? Yeah, I don't get involved with that. Yeah. It's like what are the things that people have in their heads? Yeah. It's amazing.
I mean, when you ask them about like certain guys that are close to getting called up, you figure they're at least
there's some AAA guys. Yeah, I mean they know the guys who might get called up.
Yeah,
they don't.
Don does a really good way of deflecting and say, hey, look, if they give me a name, okay, I mean his son's a GM, so he knows.
Yeah, they know the small group that they might go to.
Yeah.
But
And he
if you're
said, hey,
talking
look,
about
yeah.
if you're talking about single A guys,
Yeah. If they're on a piece of paper for him, he knows who they are. That's what I like to tell people.
yeah. Hey, Vic needs the roster to see
Yeah.
who he's got.
Yeah. Him and I laugh about it. It's funny. He's like, because he knows I got to ask him.
Vic, yeah. So no one's going to question Vic, but anyway,
right, gentlemen, I got a hard out right now. So
all right, at Jeff Kerr, make sure at Jeff Kerr PHL. I always get mixed up because you changed it. You changed it.
Well, the Instagram's still CBS because I can't change it. Thanks, Meta.
Yeah, okay. At Jeff Kerr PHL. Make sure you follow Jeff on the X platform, si.com/NFL/Eagles. A lot of stuff coming up, things ramping up. Go over and click. Don't make Jeff jump off a bridge. Come on, you got to be more positive leader. It'll be fine.
You know why I was a good leader? Because I told it like it was.
All right.
Jeff, it's July. Don't get worked up. Believe me, I've been watching our analytics for 5 years. July is a low point. August, it starts to turn with camp.
Oh, I know. It's going to turn at some point this week. You just grind. But I like to point out, no one's clicking.
Yeah. All right, Jeff.
I'm one of those people.
Thanks for doing it today, brother.
Yep. All right. See you guys.
Later.
See you, man.
There's Jeff Kerr joining us right here on Birds 365. Good stuff from Jeff Kerr today. We're about a week away from training camp, John. Next Tuesday, the Eagles will report to camp. A lot of exciting things coming in camp, Johnny Mac. And I would ask you, just as we are 8 days away from them reporting to camp, what are the big training or camp stories to watch this year? Is it safety? I think is one. I actually think wide receiver is one, with wide receiver 2. Earlier in the offseason, you pointed out, I'm not sure Makai Lemon will be the number 2 yet. I think that with Dontavian Wicks, I think I'm with you. Hollywood Brown's more on the outside looking in when it comes to that battle. I think that's an interesting one. Where else, John, do you see? And maybe it's those 2. You can elaborate on those if you think those are 2. What do you think the camp stories to watch are as we're 8 days out here?
Well, I think, the obvious ones, I think that will be sort of leading the coverage will be Sean Mannion, number 1. And then, we just talked about Uar Bernard. So those are the low-hanging fruit. I think the more substantive ones, which you're talking about, the actual battles, the actual competitions, those are 2 good ones. Obviously, everybody's interested in the draft pick, so it's going to be interesting. Not only Makai Lemon, but how do you integrate Eli Stowers? How much are they going to integrate Eli Stowers? How much is he going to be involved? Offense is certainly a bigger story than defense, which is pretty locked in. The only thing open really is safety. Backup offensive line is a big one because there's not much proven depth. A lot of bodies too. That could be a true. People talk like the NFL's a meritocracy. Nah, it's not always a meritocracy. You got pedigree. You got. Obviously, if you're a first round pick, a second round, you're going to make the team. You're going to be given opportunities. If you look at backup offensive line, with the exception of Markel Bell, who's a third round pick this year, and he's certainly going to make the team. But when you look to populate that depth behind the starters who are entrenched, there's a lot of bodies, and none of them are proven. They're all day 3 picks or undrafted. This is where, you might lose something by losing Jeff Stoutland because of his developmental skills and his, teaching acumen for technique and fundamentals. So all the names, Drew Kendall would be the top one, but You have Miles Hinton, you have Cameron Williams, you have Willie Lampkin, you have Holland Pierce, you have Micah Morris this year.
Yeah, a lot of names.
A crap load. And guess what? If Jake Majors plays better than Micah Morris or Willie Lampkin, he might make the team. You know, it could be a true meritocracy. And that's always interesting when you have true competition. And I think that might be the place there might be the truest competition, if that makes sense. Backup offensive line. Defensive tackle we mentioned is interesting because, you know, the Eagles want Ty Robinson to take a step forward. Obviously, you always want your draft picks to succeed. But if he doesn't, you know, he could be cut. And if he does, you know, they could shop Byron Young. So that's kind of interesting. They're very deep at defensive tackle, obviously, with the top three. You know, I should have mentioned the headlining stories will also be Jalen Carter. Is he practicing? Is he not practicing? Will they get the last minute extension done? That's another thing. News will start to trickle in now. Some guys have already some teams have already started camp. Seattle, most notably. Somebody else jumped in there early. I forget. But you'll start, and some of the veteran players who didn't want to take part in off-season work, they'll start signing. That'll start trickling. You still got some pretty high-name people out there who didn't want to go through the rigmarole. So the news will start to pop up around the league as well now that you're into it and guys are back at work. And while the players don't report until Tuesday of next week, the coaches and everybody's in there already. So things will start to happen pretty quickly.
Yep, no doubt about it. It's going to be interesting to see what that looks like next week, John. And then I also read an article this morning, John, on Dontavian Wicks. I think it was on NFL.com, actually. I forget who wrote it. Maybe Grant Golden, I think his name was, who basically wrote it. Wicks wants to show what he's worth after coming here. And Dontavian pointed to some of the relationships he had in Green Bay with Sean Mannion and Ryan Mahaffey, who are here and a part of it. So I'm curious to see kind of what Wicks can do this camp and then this year as well, John. They did, for those who forget, they did not only trade for Wicks, but they extended him too. So he's going to be here for the next seasons for this Eagles team. I'm curious to see what he can do with also the emergence of rookie Makai Lemon.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be 2 and 3. It depends on who, you know, I do think Wicks will start out because he's got a leg up as an experienced veteran who knows Sean Mannion already. And then Makai will start to take over as the season wears on. That's my early prediction. You know, Makai also had his football camp, and I think locally, and he's healthy. He confirmed he's healthy. He's ready to go after missing a lot of OTAs with the hamstring. So that's a positive. We'll see how quickly he can get up to speed. They do have a bit of a placeholder in Hollywood Brown that if he doesn't, you know, he could be involved early. But obviously you want to get Makai Lemon up to speed as quickly as possible. And that's the goal. But we'll see how it works out. And then you look at the strengths of those two particular players. It's basically route running, separation early in routes. Neither has great deep speed, great long speed. So, you know, that doesn't necessarily fit with the strengths of Jalen Hurts. So it'll be interesting to see the chemistry there as well. You know, if you're getting separation early, you know, at the top of a route and ball's got to come out, is the ball coming out on time? So it's going to be interesting to see.
That's the case with a lot of these receivers, it feels like now. You know, AJ maybe that unique skill set, John, of like You didn't need perfect separation. You did, you know what I mean? Like you see him one-on-one, get that ball out his way, and there's a good chance he's probably going to win the one-on-one battle.
Yeah.
It even feels like it's much different with Smitty, with Lemon. I mean, that's obviously something that will be interesting to keep an eye on this year. And the offense, in a way, is banking on that evolution from Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, they certainly are. Well, I mean, it's going to be interesting because, I think, Greg Cosell was on Ross Tucker's podcast. And I think he explained the league's thinking on Jalen Hurts and the league's thinking about this change. And I'm trying to.
I think Greg Cosell does a really good job.
Yeah, he does. He does a really good job. So, and he's just explaining and it's kind of what I've been saying on the show, but to give you another voice, this is the exact quote. This is not the way in which he's played, which I think is obvious to everybody. And it's interesting because, and he said, I'm not going to sit here and say as a veteran quarterback that he can't do it, but it is totally different from the way in which he's played over his career, even going back to college. I think people say, well, and it's pretty hefty sample size in Philadelphia now, entering his 6th season as a starter, 7th season overall. But you go back to college where he played a lot at Alabama, played a lot at Oklahoma. He has never played this style of football. He's had this tremendous success at the college level and the pro level, playing a different style of football. It doesn't make sense to me. It never has. But to those who say, well, he can do it, maybe. I'm not saying just like Greg. I'm not saying he can't do it, but I don't know. I can't think of a lot of examples where guys are completely changing what they've done this late in their career, other than people who had to change due to injury, and it generally doesn't work out well. I mean, if you're a dual threat guy and you can't run anymore, basically, it doesn't usually work out well. So I this is one of the few examples I can give you where I would say the most impressive thing about the Eagles is they normally make decisions that make sense. May not work, but they make sense. You can see the thinking behind it. I can't see the thinking behind this.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
It will be interesting to see, because even if they do try and fall back to what they've done, John, they have different styles of play. We just pointed it out with the receiver. So there's going to have to be some evolution, even if they try and default to the same thing they've done. Obviously, the offensive line is a big question in that as well. But a lot of questions, John, and a lot of them are on the offensive side of the football as we enter training camp.
Yeah, most of them. I mean, the defense is skating through, with the exception of safety. And I was talking to somebody over the weekend, like I said, a few people, and one of the things we got into was the defense and the floor of the team. And I said, I think it's pretty high. We were actually talking about Nick and his being on the hot seat and how things can change so quickly. And I said, well, I think the floor is still pretty high on this team, but it's because of the defense. I can't see them having a 6-7 win season. The defense is too good. It's too good. So
I agree with you. How far can the defense take them, and how much aid can the offense give them this year? Obviously wasn't enough last year to get past the first round of the playoffs. Really got beat by the 49ers. Not only the 49ers, but kind of the backup 49ers, which was tough, but it is what it is. We'll see what the Birds can do this year. Johnny Mack, 8 days out from camp. We got 2, I don't know if they're super chats or what these things are. David Mack, 2 gems, 2 gems. I don't know what the heck that is, David Mack, but that might be a new YouTube feature. We appreciate you contributing to the show today. No question there. We do appreciate that. Johnny Mack, your final thoughts here on a Monday edition of Birds 365. Tomorrow morning, we'll talk to Johnny Stones.
Yeah, it'd be good to catch up with John as we get closer and closer. And yeah, go click. I don't want Jeff to, hurt himself.
And click
Self-harm.
Yeah, click on JAKIB too, will you? All right, folks. Johnny Mack, great show, man. I will catch up with you tomorrow morning. Thank you, brother. Yeah,
we got to get back to 1,000. Come on, it's getting closer. We got to get back to our normal levels. Get back to our normal levels. But while I say that, I appreciate the diehards that are here every day, every single time of the year. Where's Pumper been, by the way? Where's Pumper been?
I think he was in Asia. He was in here on Friday, and he was like, I've been in Asia. I don't know. Pumper might be a world traveler. Who knows?
He's a world traveler.
I don't know. But he was here. Yeah, he was here last week. I saw him checking in.
All right. Worried about him. Worried about him. All right. See ya.
All right, later, dude. There's Johnny Mack, John McMullen joining us right here on Birds 365. Good show today, everybody. Appreciate Jeff Kerr being here. Appreciate everybody being here today. All right, it's good to see all you guys. I hope everybody had a great weekend. All right, the storm came in on Saturday, and it kind of, I don't know, depending on where you were, how bad you got hit with the storm. It was pretty bad in some areas. It wasn't too bad where I am. And then Sunday, it cleared up. Had a pretty good Sunday yesterday. I hope everybody had a nice weekend, is enjoying their summer. I actually had the opportunity in our new place to host my family 2 days. So Saturday, my family was over here. And then Sunday, my brother didn't have a chance to come on Saturday. He came over, and my sisters came over as well on Sunday night as well. So I had the family over both days this week. It was nice to host them. My beautiful wife did a great job, cooked up a nice steak for everybody. Steak, burgers on the grill in the Blackstone, some nice salad. It was a great meal. Some corn. It was a nice summer meal. Tomato and mozzarella. It was a good weekend here in the Krause world. All right. So Bird Gang Girl went to a car. Gotta love a car show. All right. Gotta love a car show. All right. Always can love a car show. Heartbroken over Argentina. I didn't watch a thing. I didn't watch a single second of the World Cup game. Keith, I'm not really a soccer guy. It's not that I don't care about it, because I appreciate that it's one of the most viewed sporting events on planet Earth. So I think it's cool and all. It's just not something that I would go out of my way, or not Keith, excuse me, Kimberly. It's not something I go out of my way to watch. Like I was busy yesterday. I wasn't like, oh, get the soccer game on. I just don't care all that much. But I did see that Spain won, so congrats to Spain. All right. I saw that Fleming. This was a custom salad. It wasn't like a regular. This was I think it was arugula base. There was peaches in there. There was fresh prosciutto in there. There was balsamic and like a balsamic glaze in there. It was real. It was good. And you know me, I'm not much of a vegetable eater. Ooh, black and red viper. I love a viper. All right, I love a viper. Hissed off viper on IG. Nice, I'll follow. All right, J Mac missing Pumper. He is. J Mac looking for Pumper. All right. My boy Pump better be back by camp. I need some Tanner. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Pump will be back. Pump will be back. Ever Living Flame. I've seen you've been crying a lot this morning. What's the matter? What's the matter, Ever Living Flame? Did somebody pee in your Cheerios? What's the matter? I'm glad. Yeah, nice family weekend, Kimberly. Now, the upcoming weekend, I don't want to talk about. What the fuck is going on up there? I don't care for. I like it. I like it. Kimberly, no comment. All right, folks, I got to run here. It's been a good show today, and I appreciate all you guys for doing it, man. 1 week out from the Eagles going to training camp. I am extremely excited for the Eagles season, honestly. I'm ready to go for it. I feel ready to go. I feel rejuvenated and ready to go. I think the Eagles have a good chance to be good. I mean, there's a lot of questions this year. I think being fair about the team, there's a lot of questions, mostly offensively, obviously. And in a way that creates some excitement, I mean, what's it going to look like? Who's going to step up? Will they step up? Can Jalen Hurts get back to being an MVP performer? I think there's a lot to look for this year. And I still think at the end of the day, the Eagles are a great team. They got a great defense. They have a great roster overall. They have Saquon Barkley. If the offensive line can play solid consistently, I think the offense will, at the very least be mediocre, and that will be important. Saquon needs to have another good year too. I think that's going to be a big piece of the puzzle. And look, it's Jalen too. We need Jalen Hurts to get back to playing that MVP level football. In 22, the team went very far, and Jalen Hurts was arguably the number one reason for that. In fact, I don't think it's arguable. I think he was the number one reason for that. So, can Jalen – obviously, the team has added Saquon. The team has become incredible on defense. Different things have factored into why the team has changed. And that's okay to point out. But you also want, the superstar quarterback to play like the superstar this year. And I think that's what will give them the best chance to go the distance this year. But the good news is the Eagles are not one of the teams, I think, on the outside looking in terms of the Super Bowl conversation. I think they're still in that conversation firmly, and they have to just play up to their potential. I mean, if they play up to their potential, they're going to be as good as anybody. So that's what they got to do. We'll see. It all kicks off 8 days from now. The Eagles report next Tuesday. Next Wednesday, they're on the practice field. Also, another question that I think is something worth watching here in this offseason as it comes to an end, kind of. Will Howie Roseman make a move? Will he make a move at safety? Will he make a move for depth on the offensive line? Will he do something at receiver? I don't think so. But will he do, what will Howie do? The one thing that Howie's obviously the best GM, I think, in football. You never know with him, right? Like, you can never count out that Howie Roseman might make a move that could surprise us. You can never count that out because Howie's always looking to improve the team, and that's what you want in a GM. You don't really want anything else. You can't expect him to make every right decision. You can't expect him to make every right draft pick. You can't expect him to make every evaluation perfectly. But you do want a GM that never rests on their laurels. Howie never rests on his laurels. So that's the other thing I'm watching. Will it pop up? Will we have a breaking news segment here on JAKIB Sports with Howie making a move? We might. We'll see what all happens. Love all you guys. I appreciate all you guys. Hit that like button on the channel for me. I'm excited for the season to roll around. I think there's going to be a lot of hype, a lot of excitement, a lot of people in the chat, a lot of agreements, disagreements, debates. That's all part of sports talk. I think that's a beautiful thing. So hit that like button, and I will catch up with all of you guys tomorrow morning and later on today in the National Football Show and tomorrow morning on Birds 365. Hit that like button. See you next time, everybody.